This episode is brought to you by Kia's first 3-row all-electric SUV, the Kia EV9, with available all-wheel drive and seating for up to 7 adults, with a 0 to 60 speed that thrills you 1 minute and available reclining lounge seats that unwind you the next. Visit kia.com/EV9 to learn more. Ask your Kia dealer for availability. No system, no matter how advanced, can compensate for all driver error and or driving conditions. Always drive safely.
Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Looking for a great haircut or shave experience? Come to Champion Salon and Barber. Our skilled barbers and stylists are dedicated to giving you the best service possible. Whether you need a simple haircut or a complete grooming package, we have you covered. And while you're here, feel free to enjoy a complimentary beer and chat with our friendly staff. We have 2 convenient locations in Waco and Woodway, Texas. You can also book appointments online or through our app, making it easy to schedule your next visit. So why wait? Visit Champion Salon and Barber today and experience a cut above the rest.
Boobies!
Well, hello.
Hi.
And welcome to
Boobies.
Boobies. That's right. We're your hosts. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And today we're here to talk to you about a listener favorite.
Yes. Carrie, 2013, suggested to us by Miss Nikki.
Nikki, that's right.
Yep, one of our super fans. And she is a super fan of this remake of Stephen King's original work of Carrie that was released in 74 or 76?
76,
76, yes. Way before our time.
Yes.
But
I thought for some reason my brain was like 2013. I was
no.
like, we were alive.
No. The other one. But
yes.
also just shows like how everything, like things never die. They get remade. They get brought back to life. And yeah. It's a new iteration for another generation to...
Iteration for another generation.
Wow, that rhymed. For us to devour. And so, yeah, do you want to get into it?
Yeah, sure. We were talking about how it's directed by Kimberly Pierce. This one stars Chloe Grace Moretz, Julianne Moore, Judy Greer are probably the biggest.
Judy Greer is like in everything.
She
like supporting actress in everything.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and she's great. Every character that she ever plays, I mean, I believe it for the most part.
Yeah, and she did a great job in this film too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Probably one of my more favorite roles.
I think she was my favorite character by far out of everybody in the film, and she's not even the main person.
Yeah.
I think
I didn't feel that way necessarily about the original gym teacher.
Oh yeah, for sure. The original gym teacher didn't have as much like depth of character, I feel like, as this one had. More complexity to her.
Which is odd because I feel like everyone else lacked that in this one as compared to the original.
Gotcha.
Almost. Like, especially with Sue.
Okay, yeah.
And Tommy.
Yeah, there wasn't as much...
I feel like you just didn't...
depth.
Yeah, and you didn't get as attached to them as... Because I kind of was really rooting for Sue and Tommy towards the end of the other one. And then this one, I was like, eh.
Yeah.
And like when Tommy died in the original, I was like, damn, really? And then in this one, I was like,
meh.
It also probably could do with the fact that it's Ansel Elgort, and well,
I don't know much about him.
I'm pretty sure he's been canceled.
He was in what else? Wasn't he in the
Hunger Games? No, he wasn't.
No, he was in that other one that I'm trying to think of. Divergent. Yeah. That's the only thing that I can think of him from.
He also makes music.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
He was in something else that, the one where the girl dies of cancer.
I can imagine him singing. Cancer, The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah.
That was him.
I'm pretty sure.
I thought that was Cole Sprouse. No, that's another sick one. That's another one.
There's a lot that have that same
storyline. Everybody, A Walk to Remember. Yeah. That's the OG. Now, if you know that one. All right. So, Kimberly Pierce, we were talking about how she directed this as well, and she only has 4 movies that she's remade, which is pretty interesting to me. And they're all like super spaced out. So like, I wonder what else she does in the industry.
Maybe she just, only picks up things when she really is passionate about it.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking up stuff on her. Apparently she's like an activist and stuff. I don't know. She stays busy. Maybe that's why. But getting into it, yeah, like you said, we have a lot of, and Julianne Moore, by the way, we kind of like slept on her. I mean, that's a really big name, like you said.
It's a huge name.
Yeah. I mean, she's been in so many things, and I enjoy her acting most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she did a good job in this one. She didn't, as we were speaking about a little bit before we started recording, she didn't have the same like creep factor.
I feel like they tried to tone it down in terms of like, because in the original, I feel there is that creep factor, but it also kind of, it straddles like a line of camp almost.
Yeah.
Of how like creepy and like whatever they are, and the mom especially. And I feel like they tried to do the opposite of that, but it's like an overcorrection. Like they tried to correct, but it was overcorrected. I don't know if it needed,
and I don't know if it needed to be corrected, because I liked, because it didn't.
I mean, I can see where you would want to take this and make it to where it's not like
creepy.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's not even the creepiness. It's like for instance, in the original, like when the mom is getting murdered with, getting stabbed and stuff, and she's moaning. It, for me, was more comical in the original, as opposed where I feel like this one, they were trying to make it more like serious, but it's like, I feel like they could have done a little bit of it, but they didn't need to turn it up like 100. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
but
with
I get
as much of I feel like the religious factor wasn't as big in this one. I mean, even though it was still a very prevalent part, it didn't feel like the same gravity.
It felt like
something towards it.
And it felt like the pacing in this one was a little bit more, it was trying to get ahead of itself almost. And then it would have to.
Well, yeah, they were trying to fit in more scenes in it's the same exact time
run
frame.
Time. Yeah.
I think it's 1 minute longer.
And so it felt a bit more rushed.
Yeah.
As opposed to the first one.
And they made certain scenes longer, like Chris and Billy's death, that I don't think necessarily needed to be as long as they were, in my opinion.
Like the whole chase and stuff.
I like how just like not even a second thought. In the original, Carrie just blows him up. She's just like
on site.
Okay, bye. And this one, she kind of tortures him a bit.
Yeah.
And this one, everything felt much more intentional with Carrie's powers than it did in the original.
And in the original, she was just kind of like, well, I don't know what this does, but let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it more so stemmed from her emotional distress and wasn't necessary. I don't feel like Carrie intended to kill everyone.
Yeah.
I feel like it was legitimately kind of an accident, and she just couldn't control her powers. Yeah. And then that's like why the whole house swallowed itself and everything like that. So this one, it felt like I didn't really feel that sorry for Carrie. I was like, well, she's murdering people straight up.
I thought it was really cool.
Like crushing the people in the bleachers.
Oh, yeah.
That was a cool scene.
And then like with the electrical cords to that one chick, and then she caught on fire. Yeah.
Yeah, when she caught on fire, that was cool, especially with the
pretty
dress
brutal.
hung around. Yeah. I liked it. I just didn't feel as bad for Carrie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
In this one. Like it was
I think also that goes to like CGM, is that her initials? That CGM's performance was kind of a bit at times like, I felt like she was dazed and confused. Like she was kind of out of it a little bit. You know what I mean?
I think so.
I don't know if that makes sense, but it just felt like she kind of didn't have as much going on in her face, especially if you compare it to Sissy Spacek's performance.
Because she did such a phenomenal job. And then talk about just general creep factor there too. There was no comparison really.
But
and I feel like that would just be hard in general to recreate.
Well, also too, if we want to go unfair, let's I mean, the original is really good and we like it. You really like it. So it would be hard for anything to kind of stand up next to it. Yeah.
I don't think many people could give the same level of performance that Sissy did.
I think also too, for the time, it was just like, it's kind of one of those things, like, I feel like it was encapsulated a time period, you know what I mean? Encapsulated. And so like putting it in today's like perspective. Like,
having the cell phones and stuff made it weird.
And I was like, also like nobody nowadays I feel like would ever be like, plug it up. Like I know that I feel like there is bullying, yes, but like I don't like to that. Like I feel like
I don't think that jargon would have been used.
Or any of that. But I mean, anyways, digress. We start with the movie, right? Going into Mrs. Margaret White, giving birth to Carrie, but you know, she doesn't know. Is it
she thinks it's a cancer.
I didn't know I was pregnant moment.
It's a baby Jesus situation happening.
Yeah.
Except for Mary knew she was pregnant, so never mind.
Yeah, that's a little different, I guess. But also, Margaret is just crazy. She had known she was pregnant, and she was just in denial.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she literally
had sex
stuff going on in that mind of hers.
Major delusional.
Yeah.
Bits.
And so she ends up giving birth, and
now remind me, did the original?
That's a real baby.
Yeah, it looked. Yeah, that was pretty real.
Yeah,
red, bloody.
The original who?
Did the original start with a birthing scene?
I do not remember this at all.
Okay,
no.
I thought this was a liberty taken, which was, I didn't mind it. I thought it was kind of interesting to see this part, especially with her reaction to the baby once it comes out. I thought she did a really great job of acting, and just you can see all of the thought process happening in her eyes. And as she's going through and deciding, am I going to murder this baby?
Yeah, literally.
That I can't believe I just had. Yeah.
Which I feel like that's such a wild concept, because she's got them shears in her hand and she's ready to just like plunge.
Yeah,
into
she gets
this,
so close.
Like very, it's a baby.
Like an inch away from this little baby's
cannot
face.
defend itself. But actually it can, because she's got telekinetic powers.
Yep.
And
not yet.
That's what stops the. I feel like that's what stopped it.
Oh, really?
Even as a baby, like
I thought she just came to her senses.
No, I feel like there was like a force that like.
I feel like that would have made her kill it more.
And then for her, that I felt like that was a moment of weakness where she was just like, I felt like for her that was a sign to not do it. But also, I'm going back. I pulled up the notes for the other one, and it did the original started with them playing volleyball.
Okay. Yeah.
And then title, and then of course titties
everywhere.
The shower scene.
Yeah.
Remember? And so because that jumped right into it, and so now we're in this part where after doing all of that, we've got a title card, and now we're at the pool, where the first OG movie started.
Yeah, where we're playing underwater volleyball as compared to normal volleyball, because they were outside originally.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also too, like, that's an Olympic thing, right? Is it make it harder? Is that the whole point of it? Like, what's the point of doing it in the water?
I think it does make it harder.
Okay, gotcha.
Is it? It's
I would assume so.
What's water polo?
Is that different. What that is?
No, I think that's different.
Because I've heard of that too.
Yeah. I don't know sports.
I don't either. But to me, it was just like, why did we do it in the water? But
I think it does make it harder.
I love being in the water, so I mean, why not?
You can't move as quickly, You're not as
I feel like you're
agile.
just stuck in one spot.
Yeah.
For the most part, because otherwise you're like, and you can't. When
trying to splash, and then if the water's, you're probably coming up through the water, which I imagine has to kill your momentum as you're trying to get the ball up.
Shout out to everybody who plays that sport. Kudos to you, because that sounds hard. And so they're playing it. The coach is then having to kind of what's the word? Not invite. Coax. That's a good one. Coax Carrie to join, the fun, the team, because she's kind of always on the sidelines, and
can't sit on the sidelines every time.
And she has to serve the ball, and she accidentally hits Miss Sue in the back of the head.
Yep, serves it right to Sue's head.
And everybody's like, "Oh, OMG, eat shit, bitch!" Which I think Carrie is the most Like each, is that what they were saying in the original?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it.
I'm pretty sure it was eat shit.
Because I'm just like, who says that?
Eat shit.
Eat shit.
Eat my shorts.
And poor thing, she kind of laughs a little bit. And also she never says, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she doesn't.
She's just kind of like.
She just kind of like, hee once everyone else starts laughing. And then that was when Chris came in with the you eat shit, Carrie White.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, that was
Chris is a
uncalled for.
bitch. Chris is a grade A psychopath.
I hated her.
From the instant.
Yeah.
She also had a face that like, kudos to the actress because like she had even that like resting bitch face of just like, man, that looks like a mean girl. Like she
had
was
too
just
much spray tan on
mean.
too. Her lips were a weird color.
Oh, were they?
In comparison to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she put too much fake tan on.
She was trying to get that Staten Island girl look, maybe. Yep. And so, yeah, all that happens. And now it's a shower time. Thankfully, they don't do it like they do it in the original because that's just weird and creepy.
Yeah, it's much less sensual.
Yeah, because these are teenagers, remember?
Yeah.
And I think especially she's barely getting her period. So she's like a freshman.
Yeah,
so she's like
probably like
14, 15, coming of age. Like that's, yeah. So.
But everyone else, she's in senior classes.
Is that what that is? Oh, because everyone else talking about prom and all that shit,
yeah.
right?
And because she was in class with Sue
smart.
And them too. She also could have just really, really, really developed like super duper late.
That's true.
It's not unheard of.
Because some people do.
Yeah.
And especially I feel like if she's been sheltered and that like type of like, you know, I feel like that affects physiology, biology and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so,
I would agree.
So, yeah, crazy. And so she's unfortunately, we all kind of know she's taking a shower and then all of a sudden we got blood that's coming onto her soap that falls and she's freaking out.
Which amount of blood on that soap, I was like,
it a lot?
It was.
Okay, I don't know how much would.
It looked like, she must have been having to have bled a lot, for that amount of blood to come out in the shower. Like, because when you're on your period and you take a shower, like my sponges and stuff don't get covered in blood.
Yeah.
I'm also not like shoving them
up your cooker.
Yeah.
But like also, I don't know. Is it different for your first one?
Yep.
Was it like?
I felt like mine was less. Because it's got to deal with, I don't know. I think we talked about this in the original
in the first
too.
one, right?
Just
Probably.
the amount of blood that was there.
That was a
is
lot
like,
too.
It's just a lot of blood.
Horror movie.
Yeah. They gotta get it in somehow.
Leave it up to Hollywood. And make sure to DM us about your first period and let us know how much blood was there. And so we also have her doing the same thing, like running up to the girls, freaking out, help me. And she gets blood all over Sue. And Sue already is like, what the fuck, freak?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, damn. And she thinks she's dying. And they're like, it's just your period. And plug it up starts happening.
Chris starts getting the tampon, just saying it's just your period, plug it up. She whips her phone out immediately too after she starts throwing tampons at her and is filming the whole situation, which is, I do feel like would happen in
this day and age.
Yeah.
World
if people
star.
were bullying and stuff like that.
There's cameras on everything.
Yeah. Because I mean, like the moment anyone gets in a fight or anything, people pull out their cameras
to record. Yeah.
I feel like it's not impossible for this to have happened. It was an added layer to the movie that, made it relevant for 2013. It would have been weird if they didn't have like cell phones at all. And so I feel like they kind of had to tie it in unless they were trying to stage it in the 70s.
I was about to say, I want that movie. I want it like now, keep it in but the 70s. Stage it back then.
Yeah.
Very Truman Show. And so, or a Truman Carrie crossover. And she breaks the fourth wall. And then they're like, because like everybody knows that she's psychic, but they pretend in that world that she's not. But then she ends up breaking through and then wreaks havoc in the real world. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
And so anyways, with Jim Carrey playing Carrie. Can you imagine?
It's like The Mask happening too.
Oh, dude, throw that in there. And so all of his movies, actually, as I just started,
Ace
The Grinch,
Ventura.
literally everything. And so we have the girls basically attacking her, because that's what it is. It's assault. And she's freaking out. And the teacher finally comes up, Mrs. Desjardins? Desjardins.
Desjardins.
Right? Yeah.
Desjardins. I think they called her Desjardins.
Yeah. But on the subtitles,
it looks
it looked French, Spanish. I don't even know what it was. But Judy Greer comes up.
Mrs. D.
I'm gonna call her Judy. She comes up and she is, trying to figure out what's going on. And it's the way that Carrie like puts her hand all over her and gets like blood all over her tennis skirt.
Bloody handprint on
her white tennis skirt.
I think it was blue.
Or was it blue?
Yeah,
oh, you're right.
It was still very noticeable. On it. Because it looked like a murder scene, like a bloody little handprint right on it. It fucked up her skirt for the rest of the day. Because she didn't change. And I was like, girl, you don't got nothing else to change into?
Yeah, she was wearing that all the way to the end of the day. And then I was like, I know that's gross.
Yeah.
That's really gross. That's someone's eggs.
Someone's
lining.
Eggs.
Just
uterine lining.
And so.
Sloughed off.
Yeah, she ends up slapping Carrie. To kind of get her back into reality because she's freaking out. Which happened in the
original as well.
And which, that whole, anyways, slaps her and then it brings her back. But at this point, I think that's whenever still all of before she slapped her, it's whenever all the tampons and everything beside her were like moving, shaking a little bit. Yeah, she was
kind of like pushing them away from her. Everything was kind of pushing away from her.
And the lights blow out.
Yeah, and then the light blows out after she hits her. And she's like trying to hold her and stuff.
Which is also like, I feel like at that point, I would have been like, oh, that bitch got powers.
Yeah. Or it would have been like, that's a really weird coincidence. But once you saw the stuff floating or pushing away from her on the ground.
Yeah.
Once I noticed all of those things moving away from me, I would have been like,
yeah,
that's a little weird.
Something's happening.
The light exploding could have been a very weird coincidence.
That's true.
But the stuff quite literally moving away from someone's body, no, you can't really explain that away.
And so, unfortunately, we have Miss Carrie in the principal's office, and she is having a talk from Miss Judy and the principal, and they're, trying to make her feel better. I don't know, trying to just kind of, calm down the situation. And
but again, the principal doesn't know her real name.
He calls her Cassie.
Yeah.
And then
he thankfully gets it right quicker than the other principal, than the original. Yeah.
And Judy's like, I'm sorry I slapped you.
Yeah,
I should have handled it better.
Acknowledges that fact in this one, didn't in
the other one,
70s.
No. And so, at this point, the principal's like, we're going to have to call your mom about this incident. And at that point, we kind of get some information of like that she's been homeschooled. Her mom has issues with the school. Obviously, from Carrie's demeanor, as soon as they say her mom, you can tell like, damn, like she's afraid of her mom. She don't want them to call her mom.
She looks very unsettled and she's just almost literally shaking in the chair.
Yeah.
And it's like, please, no, don't call my mom. And then this sets her off so much that she ends up exploding the glass water jug that was in the principal's office.
Which are those glass? I thought those
Not normally,
plastic.
But it looked like glass.
Yeah, no, I know. It definitely was glass. But I'm just like,
normally they're plastic.
Glass? Those were usually plastic.
And in the original, it was a coffee mug that she exploded, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. On his desk? I actually don't remember.
It was something much
exploded.
smaller. I think.
I think you're right. A coffee mug with pencils in it or something?
Something.
It didn't have coffee in it necessarily.
No. Yeah, maybe it was water. I think maybe he brought her a water cup or like water in a little mug that he had.
That makes sense.
And
yeah.
I think the mug of water exploded.
Yeah.
Which again, I probably would have been like, that's pretty weird. Why does all this weird stuff keep happening around Carrie?
Yeah.
Especially something as big as that water jug shattering. That doesn't seem like just a normal
it would happen
coincidence.
At any other time.
Yeah.
It seems like someone caused it.
Or like someone shot in there or something.
I forgot John Travolta was in the original. I just see my notes right now. John Travolta.
Who did he play Tommy?
I think so.
I think he did.
No, he didn't. No, he played the bad boy.
He played Billy.
He played Billy. Yeah.
Bad Billy.
That's right. Because I'm looking at it. I'm like, what? Yeah. He played Billy. Because in the original, I'd have, oh my God, John Travolta. And then what the fuck? He just slapped Chris.
That's right.
But yeah, because I was trying to see what it was that blew up. But anyways, she runs out the room like a weirdo.
Yeah.
With no explanation. And they're just kind of like, okay, bye. And then she is waiting for her mom to pick her up. And those two boys are just like being dumb teenage kids. And then her mom comes up and we have the incomparable Miss Julianne Moore playing Margaret White. Yes, I keep forgetting her last name.
And at this point too, we're also getting Chris and Billy like making out, and then they're sharing the video and stuff. So it's like proof like that she's got that video, and she's definitely not afraid of sharing it with people. We haven't seen her post it yet, but she's definitely showing it,
setting
all
the
around.
stage up for that.
Yeah.
And in my notes, it's like the kids outside are being sluts, and
because she like literally jumps into Billy's arms, and it looked like they're about to start like fucking on the hood,
draw humping.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is a high school.
And Margaret's watching them like, damn,
these
kids,
sinners,
heathens,
going right to hell. Same with Sue and Billy though, or Sue and Tommy. Whenever they started making out at the beginning in the pool room too, I was like, yeah, this is a high school, y'all. Get your lips off each other.
But and also too though, you've worked with kids now that are that age as an adult, so you see like the y'all shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah,
I remember 7th grade. Two people who will not be named, and they were making out so hardcore, like in the hallway, like in front of everybody, and like it was like a car accident. Like imagine all the 7th graders like,
just what?
Oh my God, yeah, and like giving each other hickeys and and then I remember high school there were people that would make out.
And I remember people getting caught having sex in the bathroom too.
Ooh, I never been around that one, but I wasn't. I can imagine.
I wasn't like present.
No,
when it happened.
Yeah.
But I remember some people that I knew. Got in trouble for doing that.
I think that happened at the junior high after I was already in high school, and then nothing ever like that happened while I was in high school. But I've heard stories like that. I mean, I'm sure it happened, and people didn't get caught while I was there.
Yeah, it's wild. It's not necessary. But that is probably the teacher and me coming up being like, get off each other.
Yeah. 6 feet apart. Save room for Jesus.
Save room for Jesus.
Slut.
Little slut. No, I would never.
Baby prostitute. And so she's driving Carrie home. They don't really talk in the car ride until they're kind of already at the house. And then she's getting out and she's like, I don't want to go inside because you should have told me, Mama, about my period because I was bleeding everywhere and they were making fun of me, Mama.
They were laughing at me.
Yeah. And then her mom's being funky.
Unreasonable.
Yeah. And then we have this one kid coming up saying, crazy Carrie, crazy Carrie. And she ends up making him fall off his bike.
Which happened in the original as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's just funny, though. Crazy Carrie, crazy Carrie.
I know. How rude to also come up to her car. Because I think in the original, she was on the sidewalk. I think she was walking home or something.
Yeah.
And he said that, and
little
she knocks him
jackass.
over. Yeah, but this time he like comes up and presses his nose up to the car window, and it's like, get the fuck off of the car, little kid.
He was asking for it.
You deserve to be pushed over.
And she is finally going inside because I mean, what else is she gonna do? And at this point, she got her mom's in her bedroom and she's bumping her head on the wall.
Yeah, you just hear this like dull thudding sound as we enter the house. And as we make our way upstairs, we come into a scene of Margaret just banging her head on the wall, just going like boom, boom. And
I think basically like punishing herself for what she thinks her daughter did or whatever.
This one focuses a lot more on like self-harm. Too.
With her mom especially. Yeah, I see that.
Like the seam ripper and stuff. And you see like the scratches on her arms and stuff like that too. And it was odd.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was entirely necessary.
Trigger warning. But yeah. she's doing that. And then, of course, Carrie's like, Mama, please stop hurting yourself. Like, you don't have, nothing's wrong. It's natural. And then I think that's when her mom is telling her to repeat after her. And she's like saying stuff that's like, did you write it down?
Talking about the curse of blood. Yeah. She's like basically saying that Adam and Eve, Eve was created from Adam.
And then she betrayed God. And so he brought out a curse on her, a curse of blood.
The curse of blood, yeah.
And yada, yada, yada. And then I love how Carrie's like, that's not even in the Bible.
It's not in the Bible. This is what everything else says.
And then her mom stands up, grabs that Bible, and just thumps her in the head.
Yeah.
And I honestly, it almost felt improv because Chloe's like reaction, I felt like when she was on the floor was like, oh, okay, that looks like that was real.
When her face was like.
Yeah, she was like.
Appalled.
The fuck? Yeah. And
did you just hit me, bitch?
Literally. And so she's just like trying to get away from her mom, and her mom's saying, calling her a sinner, and she's like, I didn't sin, you sinned. And that's what drives Miss White over the edge.
Yep.
And she's like, go to your closet.
Go to your closet to pray.
Mm-hmm.
She opens that door and she's like, get in there. Mm-hmm. You've done too much now.
Which the closet,
call me a sinner.
Yeah, which the closet itself is like a cast member because it plays such a heavy role. It felt like it almost played
less of a role in this one than in the original as well.
There was a lot more time she spent in the original where it showed like all the the bleeding Jesuses and all that stuff, and like the heavy emphasis on like the Christian
iconography.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't even really see anything because it then focuses on her mom for the most part. But yeah, she puts her in the closet, and that's not a place where anybody should be. So
happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Did you know you could be putting oil and chemicals in your coffee? I love coffee creamer, but I don't think I've ever turned the bottle around to actually see what's inside. When I did, I found out many of my favorite creamers contain ingredients I would never intentionally add to my coffee cup, like canola oil, dipotassium phosphate, and artificial flavors. Laird Superfood all started when big wave surfer Laird Hamilton needed morning fuel that could allow him to spend the entire day chasing the ultimate wave. He couldn't find anything in the market that met his ingredient standards, so made himself the ultimate plant-based creamer. Laird Superfood started and launched its first product, Original Superfood Creamer, in 2015. Laird Superfoods contain no artificial flavors, colors, or additives, and no sugars from highly refined corn syrup. All Laird products are sustainably sourced and thoroughly tested to ensure that you're incorporating the cleanest, finest fuel into your routine. All Laird products are also made of all-natural whole food ingredients, and they are crafted from the highest quality all-natural real food ingredients. Are you ready to feel more energized, focused, and supported? Go to lairdsuperfood.com and add nourishing plant-based foods to fuel you from sunrise to sunset. Use our promo code BOO at checkout to save 15% off your purchase today.
I love smoothies, but I don't love smoothie bar prices. With my BlendJet 2 portable blender, I can make smoothie bar quality beverages for a fraction of the price. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking the whole house. Lasts for 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C. Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go. There are also over 30 plus colors to choose from. I myself chose black because it matches the color of my soul. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. And be sure to use the promo code BOO12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to this quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code BOO12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever.
So Margaret locks Carrie in the closet and says, you have to stay in there until you pray and think about your sins, little girl.
I didn't like how she kept calling her little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said it a lot. Little girl.
It's just weird.
And then I was like, that's how I talk to the cats.
Oh, well, that's your cats. It's different.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, little baby.
Yeah. I mean, you can baby your cats
or big girl.
Your pets. Yeah. I mean, with Kara, I'm like, hi, princess.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, little baby. Yeah. So, or I called her an old lady earlier. Yeah, because she was...
You old hag.
She was being funky. She was like walking slow. And then as soon as I like walked by her and she got a little past me, she started bolting. And I was just like, you're just faking me out.
Just faking me out.
She's funny sometimes like that.
Oh, but Carrie gets locked in the closet.
She does.
She uses her powers to crack a door, which didn't happen in the original. Not like that anyways.
Got that whoosh, crack right in the middle of it.
Which
pretty cool.
Comes into handy later for Margaret.
Mama.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think in the first one, she just starts axing away at it, right? Or something, knife, or she's using something.
Yeah, I think so.
And this one, she has already like a way to get out. But after all of that, and we cut to Sue and Tommy having sex, right?
Yeah, we also get blood dripping from Jesus. So we do get
true.
the bleeding Jesus in this moment. But yeah, then Tommy and Sue having sex in a car.
In the Jeep. Very spacious Jeep, I guess. And
yeah, apparently.
I'm like, oh, you would know. I'm just kidding. And so
the seats do go down flat.
Do they? Oh, all right. Maybe there's a reenactment that needs to happen. And so Miss Sue can't climax because she is feeling very bad and guilty about what she did to Carrie. She starts talking to Tommy about it, and Tommy, starts talking about his old bully in this kind of old, story. And he kind of is the catalyst for Miss Sue trying to think of a way that she can make up her wrong, basically.
Yeah.
Like, get rid of her guilt. And she ends up at this time it even transitions to Chris and their friend Teeny, and they're with her boyfriend Billy, and they're being rowdy and whatever these rowdy teenagers do. And he's not even a teenager, isn't he? He's like older than them.
Yeah, he looked a lot older than them.
Oh yeah, like he was a senior 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah. But anyways, there, and this is where we get that Chris is basically the one who starts uploading basically like a Facebook page for Carrie. And it's like putting her video and or was it to YouTube?
It was YouTube.
Is it YouTube? Okay.
Yeah. But they were saying stuff like favorite movie, blood something.
Bloodsport.
Yeah. Favorite drink, Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were doing stuff like that.
So uncreative.
But it was to YouTube. And then after that, we basically flash back to Mom. Right?
Yeah, because she's at this point she's doing her little sewing thing, and
singing, all creepy like.
And she goes to the closet to let Carrie out, and Carrie's asleep. She wakes her up. She's like, come on, little girl.
Did you finish your prayers, little girl?
And Carrie's like, yup. And
sure did.
and at this point, whatever. Next day, we're at the field. Miss Judy is basically talking to the girls, right?
Yeah. Yeah. She's
that's right,
really going above and beyond.
Yeah.
She's doing too much. It would have been questionable.
It was a bit abusive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially she was like, what you guys did was really shitty. Now she's not wrong.
Yeah.
It was really shitty, but you probably shouldn't say that to the kids.
Yeah.
And then the way that she walks up to Chris and it was like talking to her about,
kind of antagonizing her.
Yeah, and then goes to Sue and she was like, you're going with Tommy? I would have voted for you guys, but not now. And it's like, damn, what are you? Real. Are you in high school?
Are you a student too?
Like, come on. You're supposed to be their teacher.
I know. There was kind of a level of, what's the word? When you're unprofessional?
Yeah, unprofessional.
Yeah. But I can definitely,
Lack of professionalism.
I know a teacher that I had when I was in high school that was in the drama that probably shouldn't have been. So I feel like I know who this person is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I feel like, this is really not that far off from how some people act.
Yeah. But definitely was taking it a bit far. And then, of course, she's telling them they have to run suicides, I guess, all week until, I guess, for making up for what they did, their punishment for being mean to Carrie.
And if you stop running, you get suspended.
Which means you can't go to prom.
Yep. If you get suspended, no prom.
And
probably no graduating too.
Yeah, Chris is the one who's really peeved off about it because she's like, we didn't do anything wrong. This is bullshit. And she's really challenging the teacher, Miss Judy. And then nobody else is really on Chris's side because she's trying to egg the other girls on.
Because she's being irrational.
Yeah, she is. And she's like, if we all quit and we, they can't suspend us all, like, we didn't do anything wrong. But everybody knows, everybody knows that they did a shitty thing.
Yeah.
And she's really not taking any kind of accountability for it. She's kind of like the worst kind of human being because she even, I think, is so delusional at this point that she does not think that she did anything wrong.
No, yeah. I think she wholeheartedly believes that she was in the right.
I feel like she thinks that Carrie deserved it.
Yeah.
She
did.
Yeah.
She has a line later on in the film where she was like, she's been asking for it since the 6th grade or something like that. And it's like, that's fucking rude as hell. Come on.
And so
just admit that you fucked up and
take the
move
punishment.
On.
But she obviously doesn't. She walks off. And so
she keeps yelling, this isn't over. And I was like, bitch, yes, it is. Get out of here. Just leave already.
Very Karen behavior. And so suspended, and we cut to Carrie in a bathroom, and she's looking at herself. And
we get another eat shit Carrie White on the lockers.
Yeah, that's right before that.
The lockers were defaced. And
I think that's what makes her do what she does in the restroom, right?
Yeah.
She ends up breaking the mirror with her powers and then lifting the glass. So
starts making the pieces levitate.
So she knows she has some sort of power.
Yeah. She can do something, clearly.
It's funny how that bitch came in and was just like, oh, hello. But
she was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
For real. And so she goes to the library, and because I think at this point too, because of at the beginning, Judy said, like, you're excused from PE all week, you can go to study hall. So she's in the library. I think this is during her study hall, and she's looking up all her powers and psychic books and all this stuff.
There's a small continuity error here.
What happened?
Her hair all of a sudden got like really nicely well done.
Oh, did it? I didn't notice.
Yeah, it looked like she all of a sudden got a nice straightener. And before, her hair was looking real...
not wavy and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
frizzy and wild. And as she was in the library, she has a very, like, nice kind of polished hairstyle.
She unlocked a new power.
I was like, where'd this bitch get a straightener?
Yeah. She psychically straightened it. I don't know if that's even possible. Like, the molecules, like, I don't know.
Well, if she made the door weld shut...
That's true.
Maybe she can her hair.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's possible.
Okay, so that's what she did.
And so she's looking it all up. She's looking at the computer. And then so it's like an inkling of her coming and understanding of like she has this ability and she wants to try to control it. And we cut to now her being in class, and the teacher calls her up to read her poem.
And the teacher's a really fucking big asshole.
Oh yeah, he's
like also making eyes at Teeny or whatever the fuck her name was.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
You're not cool, dude.
He's fucking a student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely gave
needs
that
to be reported. But she also knew a teacher, the high school that.
Yeah, a teacher in my high school
too.
Also did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple times, a couple different instances actually.
That's
not
wild.
That hard,
people.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
Oh, that's
also,
crazy.
Find some people your own age. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so Carrie is reading her poem and whatnot, and everybody's talking over it. And like, I know this would not happen. And like, a real teacher would be like, everybody shut the fuck up. But anyways, everybody's talking and laughing over her. And even the teacher is joining in on being like, oh, well, that was the most disturbing thing you said all year. And
yeah, this is the most you've talked in the class all year. Are you done like disturbing us now?
And then Tommy's like, asshole, under his breath. And then
the teacher's like, what?
It's like, oh, I said it was awesome.
Yeah. Thought the poem she read was awesome.
So at least he's kind of like coming to her defense a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny how everybody like turned their heads like at the same time towards him in the back. Like, yeah.
What'd you say?
That would give me whiplash. I just got a little bit of it right now. I'm getting nauseous already. And so
then we flash to
the
Mom
cleaners.
And the cleaners, yeah. And she's sitting there sewing, and we get this lady very impatient up at the front going like, bing, bing, anyone here? Ringing the little bell like, is anybody working here? And Margaret finally, decides to go up there. She did kind of take her sweet time, but she was in the middle of something, so yeah, I get it. And we see that it's Mrs. Snell. So Sue's mom. Sue's mom picking up the dress
for Sue's
prom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as they're sitting there talking, Margaret is definitely not as open to speaking with her.
Yeah, you can tell she's already kind of like feels a certain way, kind of standoffish.
Thinks all their kids are sinners. She's not trying to convert her like she was in the original.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause in the original, would talk to her, and they actually had somewhat of a relationship, but it was all just her trying to convert her and stuff.
Because so that her mom came over to the house in the original, right? Yeah. But yeah,
this is the only interaction we get between the two of them,
and they're being weird, or Margaret is, at least for the most part. And yeah, she's like, these are godless times, as she's like cutting up her leg with
the seam ripper. Yeah.
So it shows that like she's like punishing herself for almost having any interaction with this worldly woman, I feel like. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so and obviously Sue's mom is just kind of like, ooh, awkward. Okay. What the fuck? Yeah. And then we cut to Miss Chris being in trouble or trying to get her dad to get her out of trouble at the school office, which I'm assuming is the next day or during the same day. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. And so her dad's like a haughty lawyer. I don't know. Someone important, I guess, who makes her feel like he can get her off the hook. Maybe he has many times before. But she is basically trying to say that she didn't do anything wrong. And then he is being condescending to Judy. And then I love how she kind of flips it around on him. And she's like, well, there was a video that got sent around. And if this is on someone's phone, it would be pretty damning to that person. And then that's when we see like Chris obviously was not smart enough to delete it.
Yeah, because she wouldn't give up her phone. This bitch knows she's guilty.
Yeah, and her dad's like, just give him the damn phone. And she's like, no, and walks out.
Runs out, yeah. And then we get Sue standing up to Chris, right?
Yeah, because Chris ends up going to the bleachers. What's the room with the bleachers? The gym?
Gym.
And they're all trying to prepare.
Almost like a locker room.
They're all trying to prepare for, there's probably someone there too. They're trying to prepare for the prom and stuff. And Chris is like, well, I'm not going to go to prom, so, haha, I guess. I don't know. She's really taking it all out on Sue.
She's just being a fucking bitch.
Yeah, to everyone. And she confronts Sue, and then at this point, Chris is basically saying, you don't even care about Carrie. You only care about like your perfect prom and this and that.
Your perfect night. You've already practiced the sounds that you're going to make for Tommy.
Which I'm like what perfect? They've already been fucking. Yeah. Like, shut the fuck up, Chris. And so, like, she's fucking pregnant.
Yeah.
And so,
that was a weird additive too.
Yeah, I was like, it wasn't in the first one.
Necessary.
But maybe, yeah, I don't know.
She's going to give birth to Carrie.
That's what it was like, her Carrie's powers transferred into her. And so Carrie is now at home at this point, and she's reading all these books, and she starts to make them float around her bedroom.
Kind of practicing all of her powers, making all of the books fly. She even ends up lifting her bed off the ground. Yeah. Which I was like, now I can understand why her mom would think this is a devil.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Very possession.
And especially when she starts hearing all that ruckus, and her mom does not play any games, because she grabs a knife and she's going upstairs to be like, what the fuck? What's going on?
Which I was like, why would you grab a knife to go up and check on your daughter? But
she's crazy.
This is also Margaret.
Yeah.
So
she walks in, and just, I guess, and then I don't know how Carrie pulls it off, but she makes it look like she was asleep and the lights are off, and like she's like, yeah.
And all the books are
neatly stacked and organized. Yeah, they're not on the floor or anything. But her mom walks in, and she starts tucking her in creepily, and it's like, I'm not gonna let anybody hurt you, whatever.
My little girl. And
Carrie makes the knife go off the table. And then kind of smirks. So yeah, just some more weird mom interaction. And at this point, Sue is at her boyfriend's practice the next day, and
he's at lacrosse.
She calls him over, and she wants to talk to him, and immediately she's just like, I want you to take Carrie White to prom.
Yep. And he was like,
no. And she was like, yes. And he's like, is this I don't even remember, but basically he's like, I can't do that. And she's like, no, you need to do this because we need to make things right.
Yeah. And she was saying that she can't go. So I'm guessing, I don't know, some sort of punishment still got inflicted upon her. I'm not really sure.
I feel like she was punishing herself.
Yeah.
More so. Yeah. Because, I mean, her mom obviously picked up the dress for her, so she was not grounded in any way.
Well, and
Right.
but like if the school had said something to her, I mean, her mom would have still had to pick up the dress anyways. They paid for it.
I don't think she ran. She did everything. So she's doing this for herself.
Yeah.
Like, this is her choice.
Yeah.
I don't think the school had anything to do with it.
No.
But we do have him then going to ask her out, and she immediately thinks it's a joke.
Yeah.
And runs
he
away from
failed
him
miserably.
Oh yeah, for
at
sure.
talking to her.
He was very unbelievable.
Yeah, he didn't go about it in the most gentle of ways. I mean,
Mhm.
he was trying to be nice, but it just didn't give very genuine.
Fell flat.
Yeah. And yeah, she runs away, and then
She's crying in the locker room.
yep. And she even told them, like, stop trying to trick me and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is where we get the Judy gym lady teacher coming up, and we get the scene that happened also in the original.
Yeah.
Where Carrie's crying. She says, like, Tommy Ross invited her.
Yeah.
And that they're just going to trick her again and stuff like that. And then Miss Judy takes her to the mirror and talks to her about being pretty and says you have to change all these things about you in order to be pretty.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Same thing. Same concept.
Yeah. I feel like they took that almost word for word.
Oh yeah, for sure. She's like, if you would just stop slouching and put some,
Stand up
pinch your
straight.
cheeks, put some makeup
A
on,
little curl in your hair.
you'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not the way you are right now, sweetie.
But obviously
Not beautiful.
Carrie, but even as she's talking to her about that, Carrie kind of gets this like little boost of, I don't know,
Confidence. She
Yeah.
does light up.
Mhm.
There's a lot of times in this movie where Carrie lights up and like smiles a lot more.
than in the first one.
Yeah, believingly than Carrie. Carrie in the first one seemed much more hesitant the entire time. And when she did smile, it even still was just creepy.
And next after this, we have Miss Judy going up to Sue and Tommy, just like in the first one, because she's basically being like, y'all better not be fucking with this girl because that's fucked up.
Yeah, better not be playing a joke she has the same line too to Tommy. She was like, don't you think you'd look a little ridiculous with Carrie White on your arm, kind of thing. And it was like,
Just rude as fuck.
that's
But yeah.
kind of mean, but okay.
Yeah. But in the context of the story, yes, because they're social. She's like a social pariah.
Yeah. And he's also got a girlfriend.
Yeah, but also whatever. This is what works for the plot of the movie. Okay,
Yeah.
This is what Stephen King wrote, so it's the Bible. We got to go by what it says.
Lord Stephen King.
And so he ends up going to her house, right?
Yeah.
At this point,
And she agrees to
just
go
a bit
only
stalkerish.
after he's pressured her, basically.
Because she's afraid of her mom coming home and finding a boy. So she's like basically answering yes, so he'll leave.
I was also shocked at how, I mean, all these cars did look remarkably similar coming down the road. But I was like, girl, you don't know what your mom's car looks like?
Yeah.
Because each one of them, they were like different colors.
Yeah.
And stuff too. And I was like, you
She's
gotta know
just-
the color of your car.
She's that paranoid.
Yeah.
And so
Every car could have been mama's car.
Yeah. She ends up going to a clothing store, I think the next day. Right? It has to be the next day after school because she goes to the store. She's looking for a dress. The other girls, Chris and like Teeny and the bitches, see her. So they're like, what the fuck is this? And they're like, she's going with Tommy and this and that.
Teeny and the Bitches.
And Chris
That'd be
is-
a good band name.
Right, Teeny and the bitches, and Chris is very much like with just the look, like very much like over my dead body kind of situation.
Yeah.
And then we have Carrie showing up to her house, and her mom's waiting for her outside.
Because it's like pitch black. She got home really late, and mom is like losing her shit on the front yard.
Yeah,
Like lawn, very noticeably.
and she's like, "You cannot go to prom."
And this is where we start getting a very PG version of the dog sniveling comment in the basically coming and saying like, that boy, he's gonna come paw at you, and once you've got the blood, the dogs will smell it out and they'll figure out where that scent's coming from, and they'll put it in you, basically.
Basically like dogs in heat.
Yeah. But it seemed much more toned down than the original. The original was like a very intense scene where it was like,
Very
Jesus
descriptive.
Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I liked about the original. This one,
excuse me.
I still liked this scene in general, but it just wasn't as intense and as graphic.
Yeah, well, and basically because her mom's just, it's that whole, like, they're all going to laugh at you, they're going to trick you, and this isn't right. Like, he just wants one thing, they're all the same. And Miss Chloe, Carrie, there you go. She uses, this is the first time she's like, what's the word? Like, visibly uses her powers against her mom, and her mom's like, "Ooh, what the fuck?"
Yeah,
because doesn't she make like
she lifts all the furniture in the house and her mom.
It is very real. It felt like a very real reaction from Julianne Moore, because she's like,
yeah. and then she wouldn't stand up, and she was like, "Mama, stand up," and chokes her up. And has
levitates her
levitating from the ground, yeah.
Very Dua Lipa.
And keeps holding her in the air for quite a while. And then this is where Mom starts saying, like,
it's the devil. Oh, yeah, it's the
devil.
witch. Yeah. Which, I mean...
Well, understandable.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm getting, like, I would
have been like, oh, something's going on here.
Yeah.
And it's the obvious connection for her mind to make with her
I'd be like, oh, you're a mutant. I don't know. Or like, oh, cool. Like,
you got powers, but can you put me down, please?
Yeah. Let's talk about it. And so at this point, I think she does that, and she's just like, does she put her in the closet? No, not yet. Yeah, that's right. It's just like, it's donezo. And then we have cutting to Billy and the
pig picking scene.
Yeah, his friends going to go get a pig because they're obviously going to cut its throat so they can get blood for the famous scene. And the friends can't kill the pig, and so Billy has to do it. And then Chris joins in, and it's all kind of just like, it's a little bit gross for me and kind of really sad for the pig. So
yeah, really sad for the pig. And it just didn't make sense to me. Like, because Billy kills the pig, Chris slits the throat, and then they just start making out.
Oh, and the blood goes on his face. Yeah. It's
and
very...
like, killing an animal is like a
good
reason to go for it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And like...
I was like, what the fuck?
It seems like it's weird because, it seems like they're getting hot and bothered off of it. Yeah. And...
off of murdering something.
But I guess that goes to show just how psychotic they are.
Yeah.
Right? Because isn't it like serial killers, they hurt animals?
Yeah.
So
some of them do get off on
hurting people.
Things. Yeah.
And so, and then we have
Sue vomiting
at school. So it's kind of setting up the like whole, I mean, if you're a first time viewer, you probably wouldn't think like, oh, she's pregnant. I feel like
I did,
maybe because you're a woman. I feel like,
I was like, not to like, because she came out and she kind of held her lower stomach.
Yeah.
Or maybe I imagine that, but it kind of looked like the way that she came out. I was like, she got morning sickness. Because it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But then also I was like, but why? I was like, what does that have to do with anything? Or being pregnant?
To add more stakes, I guess, that Tommy dies. I don't know. We're supposed to care more.
Yeah. It didn't make me care more.
Or maybe that's their reason in this one why Carrie spares her at the end. And at the other one, it was just like, just because she didn't. Sue was kind of nice to her, I guess.
Yeah.
And was,
well, and Sue goes into like cuckoo.
She's
in like a coma.
She's crazy, isn't she?
Yeah, she's in like a coma, I think. And then we'll come to basically just to like be like, where's everyone? And then falls right back into the coma.
And so at this point, Carrie's making her dress. Oh no! After that whole situation, we see Chris and Billy sneaking the blood into the gymnasium. They're getting all that set up, and then we have Carrie making her dress for prom.
And we get shots of everyone kind of getting ready.
It's this montage.
Teeny and the bitches, and then
the boys,
Tommy and everyone. Yeah.
It's a vampire weekend. Yeah.
Something like that.
Very happy-go-lucky music.
And then. Yeah,
we get a confrontation
making her dress. Yeah.
And then we get a confrontation with her mom because she's like, I can see your dirty pillows.
Yeah, I might have known it would be red. She's like, Mom, it's pink.
Literally. Her mom is delusional.
I'm glad they kept the dirty pillows line.
Yeah.
Because
it's iconic.
Yeah. And it's such a weird way to she's like, Mom, they're breasts. Everyone has them.
Yeah.
Or all women have them.
But I get what she means, dirty pillows, your dirty pillows. That's interesting. Do you know? Yeah. I don't know. And so anyways, after this little incident, Tommy shows up, and that's whenever her mom's like really trying to stop her, like, hey, you do not go to this prom. I won't let you go.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
And then, Carrie's like, just let me go, Mom. I promise I'll be back, and then whatever. But her mom's not having it, and so she ends up having to use her powers on her mom. And this is when she locks her and puts her in the closet.
Yep, locks her in the closet, and then she like even welds it shut
with her powers.
Yeah. And then just basically turns the radio up so that way Tommy doesn't hear the banging and screaming.
Because he's at the door, right?
Yeah. But you can still hear it.
Oh, yeah.
You can.
And he's like, can we go? And she's like, don't go. Yeah. And she's like, yeah.
How do I look?
Yeah. And so they end up leaving. We get to the prom, and it's a whole thing. It's what prom is, whatever. He's introducing Carrie to his friends, I guess, or doesn't. Yeah, he's introducing him to the friends. Yeah,
his friend, and then the nice girlfriend who goes to another school, so doesn't know Carrie's
or any of this stuff. Yeah, doesn't view her as a pariah, because immediately she's super friendly to her, and she's sweet. Like, I love your dress. Yeah,
you made it, really?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's gonna be me. I'm going to make my own prom dress.
Oh, do it.
And so we have, it's honestly, she's having a nice time. It's so, this is the moment where it's like, damn, because what's going to happen, what's going to come up next. Tommy wants to dance with her, but she's, she doesn't want to get up. She's being, cautious, shy, all of those things.
Yeah. And it was at first to a fast song, and she was like, yeah, maybe let's wait for a slower song. Miss Judy comes up to speak to her.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my God, you look so beautiful, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. But then whenever Tommy gets back from getting the punch and makes the joke about the punch being spiked
to the teacher,
yeah, and she was like, are you fucking kidding me? Basically.
Yeah. And
he was like, it's a joke. But then he comes back and he asks Carrie to dance this time, and she's like, all of a sudden now it's got a very like, no, I don't want to dance reaction. And because earlier she was just being shy and stuff. And then this time she's like, no, I can't dance. I've never danced.
It's definitely more like fear at this point.
Yeah.
And so he's a charming, nice boy, and he gets her up to dance.
Yep.
And I think at this point it does cut to after their little sweet dancing, it cuts to Miss Margaret breaking out of the closet.
Yeah, clawing her way out of the closet. She can't unlock the thing though, so she's gonna have to make herself a bigger hole to get out of it.
Literally with her bare hands.
Yeah,
like probably cutting up her hands, getting splinters, bleeding. And she so we already get the fact we get that mom's gonna be out of there soon, but we cut back, and at this point they want to start doing the prom queen and king voting stuff.
Yep. And Chris and Billy sneak in, and then this is where we get the line that was in the original as well: to the devil with false modesty. And then to the devil as they vote for themselves. So they kept that too, which I thought was cool.
Yeah. And it ends up showing that Chris texts Sue, and she's like, your friend,
your girl looks good, but she won't for long.
Yeah. So that then sends off Sue to start going and running to the school.
Yep.
So we have that in motion, and we also see that their whole plot basically is for, Carrie and for Tommy to win, because they're going to switch the votes up. They're going to make it so that they get picked and go upstage, so that way, of course, they can drop the blood on over Carrie.
Yep.
And so all this, basically goes according to plan for the most part. Chris and Billy are there. They're waiting for it to happen. We get this interaction between them where it's like, they're both crazy. And he's like,
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah, because he's like, if this goes wrong, like, this is jail time. Like, you need to take this fucking serious.
It's a criminal offense.
This isn't just a little joke.
Yeah.
And so at this point, Sue shows up. They win. They get caught up. It's like
Judy's
this whole thing.
trying to kick Sue out.
Yeah, it's like there's so many things happening at the same time. And at this point, she's up on the stage, and what happens next? Did you know that dehydration is the leading cause of daytime fatigue? I was shocked to learn that even mild dehydration can cause headaches, muscle weakness, and brain fog. But luckily, there's a solution. Cure Hydration is an oral rehydration solution that contains the perfect balance of electrolytes and glucose to help your body absorb water and rehydrate quickly. The formula is made with all natural ingredients like coconut water, powder, and pink Himalayan salt, and is free from artificial flavors, sweeteners, and preservatives. Cure Hydration is vegan, gluten-free, and non-GMO, making it a great option for anyone with dietary restrictions or preferences. The packets are convenient and easy to use. Just mix with water and drink. They're perfect for on the go, travel, or anytime you need a quick and effective hydration boost. Hydration is more than just drinking water. That's what Lauren Picasso, a lifelong endurance athlete, discovered as she struggled to stay hydrated no matter how much water she drank. Lauren founded Cure, a science-backed electrolyte drink mixed to make hydrating easy for everyone. Cure believes that hydration should be simple and effective, but also clean and natural. That's why they use only the highest quality plant-based ingredients and avoid any artificial or harmful additives. They're committed to transparency and honesty. All of their ingredients are clearly listed on their website and packaging, and they're always happy to answer any questions or concerns. Ready to combat dehydration? Try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use code BOO for 20% off your order.
Are you tired of the same old boring puzzles? Mix things up with Wongo puzzles. Each puzzle is a custom design with intricate patterns and whimsical shapes that will keep you engaged for hours. Plus, their eco-friendly materials and commitment to sustainability make Wongo puzzles a guilt-free way to unwind. Wongo puzzles are 100% wooden puzzles, meaning they'll last forever. Each piece is hand-drawn, so no two pieces are the same, and you'll discover some fun, whimsy pieces as you work through it. They come in a custom wooden box, which is perfect for storage and gifting. With stunning design and unique shapes, Wongo puzzles are a cut above the rest. So what are you waiting for? Go to wongopuzzles.com and pick your puzzle today. And be sure to use the promo code BOO and get 10% off of your order. This is the most fun you've had with the puzzle guaranteed or your money back. Go to Wongo, WONGO, puzzles.com and use the code BOO to get 10% off your order and get puzzling right now. Wongo. She pulls the cord, but it actually doesn't go the first time. So then Billy's trying at it, and then they're trying yet again, and then Billy finally gets it to go. And we get 3 different camera angles of this blood going
dropping all over her, which I kind of did like. Yeah, how it did get over her. It looked very thick.
Yeah, it did. Very viscous,
like honey. And so obviously splashing all over Tommy in his white suit tux, and he's like, what the hell, guys? And
he's like pissed.
Oh yeah, and like you said, we get all those, it's like all those different shots, so it's not just like one and done, and so it's kind of prolonged, and then everybody's like looking at her. They start to kind of laugh at her a little bit, but I think for the most part everybody's kind of like, and at this point
they start laughing once they play the video.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because the video goes up, played by Teeny, and it's of the Plug It Up.
Yep. And then everyone starts laughing, and it's
true.
Like, this is not funny. Yeah, you guys, this is really sad, actually.
And then she looks up and she does see, it's Billy or Chris's glasses up there?
I think it was Billy's,
right? She puts it together. Knew. Yeah. She's also psychic. But who knows? And so this is when all hell starts to break loose, essentially.
She cries once the bucket falls down and knocks Tommy out. She starts crying over Tommy, which
also, how did the bucket, in both movies, how did that bucket just kill him instantly?
I guess just like Billy Mays getting hit in the head with that luggage.
In the right spot. Yeah.
Hit you and
lights out.
Yep.
Poor thing. But yeah, he's dead and she's crying over him, and this is what sends her over the edge.
Yeah.
Because she loved him essentially.
Yeah.
For the most part.
The brief time that they had together.
Yeah.
He was one of the first people to like probably ever show her kindness.
Mm-hmm.
So
she gets up and she goes off, and at this point everybody starts to kind of, because the blood starts like pooling off of her and floating, and everybody's like, what the fuck? Are you seeing this? And then they try to run for the exits, but she lets out like a scream, and it like just
sends everyone
forces
flying.
Everybody flying. Yeah. The room kind of, and I love how immediately Sue gets on the phone. She's like, there was an explosion.
Yeah. And I was like, the explosion hasn't even really happened yet.
Literally. But she's like, oh my God. And then, Carrie just kind of goes full Carrie and just starts killing people.
And this scene was a lot more, I feel like,
graphic,
drawn out than the original was.
Yeah.
The original happened so fast.
Yeah, and the original was more like cutaway shots and like,
Yeah, you're not really seeing these people
dying.
Dying and getting smushed by... The bleacher scene was probably my favorite.
The bleacher, we have the 2 twins getting trampled.
Yeah.
Because she's forcing them down to let the people run over them. We have, and then that girl, like we said,
I put
Teeny.
setting bitch on fire.
Yeah, Teeny, because I thought it was really bad bitch of her to be like, ksh, ksh, like with the fucking wires, and then she ends up catching on fire.
And the way that her, like whenever her dress like
catching fire,
I was like Katniss.
Hunger Games, yeah, literally the way she almost gave a spin too.
Yeah, she did.
And so
like, wow,
it's
beautiful.
Literally, but there's a human being on fire. Yeah. And then of course like Judy, the teacher, she's just watching all of this like, oh my god,
horror.
Like yeah.
And in this one, she saves Judy.
Yeah, because she kills her in the original, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in
Judy
this one,
gets smashed by like the air AC unit or something.
And she lifts her up. I forgot that she doesn't die in this one, and she lifts her up and she spares her by putting her behind her, because she then drops all that the sprinklers and the water gets on the floor, and she basically electrocuting everybody. Yeah.
Yep.
And then everything starts catching on fire.
Yep. And she's like throwing the burning moons at people. She's just it's very evident
Going
again
ham.
that this is all intentional on Carrie's part. She's picking things up. You see the gestures with her arms, like proving that she's actually executing these movements. As in, when in the original, she's not really doing anything besides walking. She's just walking out and
everything's like going berserk around her, and therefore everybody's dying because of the things going haywire around her.
Yeah. And she's not really having
attacking people.
She's not murdering people like she is in this one. I mean, she did murder them too
overall, but
I don't think I don't think the intent was there. I think her body just, it was like flight or telekinesis.
Yeah. And she chose both. And so at this point, she ends up walking out, essentially. Everybody's kind of, coughing and like, oh my God, we're wounded. It's a whole fiery, bloody scene. There's sirens coming up.
The way she flies out.
Oh, yeah.
Comical.
A little comical.
Yeah.
And then it's the way that like it seems like there's nobody's there, as it's like aerial shot of her, but then we pan to her and it's like, oh, there's literally everybody around her, and like, yeah. But she ends up seeing Chris and Billy's car take off, and so she's gonna go after them, which she does.
These are the people who did it to me.
I'm
gonna get them.
She goes after them. It's the way that they're trying to get away, and it's the way that she's standing behind them apparently, and I don't see how none of the cop cars notice that there's a bloody teenager just walking in the middle of the street.
Of the road.
Yeah.
They're probably like, this is least of our concern.
Yeah.
There's fire everywhere.
And so they get over there, but she tries, they're trying to get away, and she ends up doing like a whole airbender thing, like earthbender, and stomping on the road.
The ground, yeah.
And it breaks the ground from underneath them, so they can't get away.
And she almost makes him fall into a sinkhole.
Yeah.
Like once it does catch up to him.
I love how he was like, this damn town, as if it was like...
This is just a normal thing that's happening.
Literally.
Not like it's a supernatural force.
And so they get turned around, and of course she sees Carrie, and so she's like, oh my God, it's Carrie.
She's like, run her down.
Run her down. And they do try to do it, but of course she stops him with the force field, and I guess he dies. I don't know. I thought he was just knocked out.
Yeah, but his nose did look like it split open.
Yeah,
it was pretty gross looking. He's at least unconscious.
And
he definitely dies in the explosion.
Oh yeah, because then Miss Chris is like, ugh, and like sobbing and like freaking out, and then she moves his body over and she tries to run over Carrie, but Carrie has other plans, and she makes her run into the pole at the gas station, or the gas station thing itself, the pump, and pretty graphic. Miss Homegirl Chris goes flying and gets caught in the glass, the windshield.
Yep, and her face gets halfway through the glass. It wasn't quite forceful enough to completely eject her from the vehicle, but it did get her face shoved through, and that was pretty graphic. Yeah, like you said.
And Miss Carrie gets to see her kind of take her last breath, get her revenge on her.
Yep.
Because she does die, but it's funny the way that even then Carrie's like, no, that's not enough, and then
blow him up still.
Blows him up. Yeah.
Yeah, she knocks that pole down on them, which we already saw the gas was spilling from the crash, and it just goes electric pole onto them and lights them up. And then I was like, she should have told her to eat shit. Right as she was dying, she should have been like, eat shit.
That would have been great. Yeah,
I would have wholeheartedly accepted that change.
I would have stood up and clapped.
Yeah. I would have been like, okay, yes, bitch.
We're rewriting the narrative.
Yep.
Yeah. Now she's not a victim anymore. She's not weird. She's like, I'm the head bitch now.
Yep. HBIC.
And so she ends up just kind of going home, bloodied and in shock for the most part, it looks like. And she gets into the house. She's calling out for her mom, but her mom's not responding. So she just goes immediately to the bathroom to wash the blood off of her because she's obviously covered in it. And she gets cleaned up. And at this point, while she's taking a bath, we see that her mom is kind of slinking through the house with a knife.
Yeah.
And at this point, when she comes out, they finally are having a confrontation. And her mom's like, Carrie's like, they made fun of me, Mom, or something. Or,
you were right. They laughed at me.
Yeah, there you go.
Kind of stuff. And
her mom's like, it's okay, come here, babe, we'll pray together, it's okay. I thought it was so creepy and weird. Is this in the original when she's like, I'll be the preacher and you'll be my congregation?
I think it is.
That line made me cringe.
The part that made me cringe was when she was like telling her daughter, I liked it when he put it in me.
Oh yeah, like describing how
she was like, I should have killed myself the moment he put it in me.
Yeah.
But then he looked at me in that way, and we got down on our knees to pray, and that was when he took me, and I liked it.
Oh, isn't this where she calls her like, you're a Cancer or something like that?
Yeah.
Or that was earlier, maybe.
I think it was earlier. She was like, I thought you were a Cancer, and then Carrie was like,
don't say that, Mom.
That's mean.
Literally. Yeah.
That's really mean, Mom.
Yeah. And I mean, poor Carrie, she's like, okay, yeah, let's pray. And she kneels and everything. And then as her mom's praying, she takes out a knife and just stabs her in the back.
Yeah,
pretty
they're
metaphorical.
saying the Lord's Prayer, and as she says, on earth as it is in heaven, just.
And this makes Carrie have kind of like a little psychic bomb, and they both go flying different ways. Carrie goes down the stairs, her mom flies on the other side of the room, and as Carrie is kind of coming to at the bottom of the stairs, her mom is coming towards her, and she is it's full attack mode, basically. It's a confrontation.
Yeah.
And Carrie obviously doesn't really want to hurt her mom, but her mom is coming at her with the knife and very close to killing her, and so she's trying to hold her back at all costs. And then at one point, I think Carrie is no longer scared to defend herself. She's like, okay, I got to do something or else I'm gonna die. And so she gets all the knives and scissors and everything sharp.
Yeah.
And
it's because the mom has the knife
right
and is kind
forehead.
of getting.
It's on her forehead at that point, right? Yeah.
And because she had pushed her away with her powers, but then her mom was getting closer to her head again, even with the powers. So that was she was like, okay,
her will.
We got to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that's when she gets all the sharp stuff.
And mom goes
at her.
flying across the room.
And not even sharp things. A metal ruler went through her.
That's true.
Which
about 4 to 5 inches in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Imagine that just with enough force going through your skin. Yeah.
It's like a tornado.
Yikes.
Tornadoes have the power to put straws through trees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she gets thrown and yeeted across the room, and everything stabs into her, and she kind of gets pinned up on the wall, very crucifixion style. And poor thing, Carrie has to come up to her and and it was very different from the original, because in the original the mom was dying and it was very orgasmic almost, and it seemed like she was moaning while she was taking her last breaths.
I was glad that this moment didn't have that, because that was weird, but that it was fitting for the original, just with how the mom's character was overall.
Well, in the whole movie, I mean, when we have Carrie in the beginning basically being soft porn with the titty scene and all that shower scene, but in this scene she doesn't do it as long, but then it's the fact that it's kind of opposite. She's and then Carrie comes up closer and she's and comes to, and Carrie pulls her down and is I'm sorry, you whatever. Nothing's
gonna hurt you now, kind of thing.
And then that's whenever Sue comes in, and it's so crazy to me too that fucking Sue had to come in after, she didn't walk in whenever mom was attacking her.
Yeah.
So it looks very damning for Carrie. Yeah. And so, and I think if anybody, if Sue were to see her mom attacking her, it would explain a lot of why even anything happened, because this is basically a caged hurt animal that is just
lashing out,
protecting itself.
Yeah.
And so she comes in and she's like, Carrie, we gotta go, I can help you, this.
But then Carrie starts throwing shit at her and stuff, and Sue was like, don't hurt me, and she was like, why not?
And then
I've been hurt all my life, kind of thing, is what she says. And then
all the rocks and stones,
which I was like, where are all these fucking stones coming from?
Somewhere. She's got the power to she's picking them up.
I was like, this would have made more sense if this was a stone house.
They were the most like perfect round stones.
Yes, they're like perfect skipping stones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were very smooth.
And she, is very biblical. She's stoning herself in the house for what she feels is like her sin of killing her mother. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I want her back. I killed her. And she pulls Sue close up to her, and that's whenever she psychically can tell, I guess, that there's two bodies in the belly, and she's like, it's a girl. But I'm like, how the fuck? But okay, how?
Yeah.
How? But okay.
I guess that's just, she's basically God now.
Yeah.
At this point.
And so she spares Sue, sends her flying out the house, and then we just basically see isn't it like poltergeist, or like, the house basically eats itself. And like the original two, just, succumbs to itself and then gets sucked into the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then it goes black, and then we cut to a jury scene with Sue, and they're basically trying to figure out how Carrie White was involved in all of this. Mm-hmm. And they're like, why didn't you say that this could all be explained in a natural way? And Sue was like, no, I know what I fucking saw.
She had powers, and we pushed her.
Yeah, and she said, you can only push someone so far before they break, kind of thing. And then instead of Carrie White burns in hell on the house, it was on her tombstone.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, on the property where the house was, there's like a little cross there, wasn't there?
And the original. Yeah. And then this one, it's like an actual graveyard.
Yeah, graveyard, and then they've got a tombstone, and Carrie White burns in hell. And then the tombstone goes.
Yep, as soon as all the leaves starts floating around it.
Not as big of a jump scare as the original.
The original wasn't a hand popping out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. And then like goes to white.
Yeah. It made me jump. I was like, what?
And that is 2013's Carrie.
I forgot about it while watching this one. And then I didn't think about that until just now. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad it didn't get me again.
Yeah.
That there wasn't another one. But yeah, 2013's Carrie. A listener request from Nikki, a longtime listener of ours, and we did this in honor of her birthday. That happened in May, but we were only able to get around to this now.
Yeah.
So happy late birthday, Nikki.
Happy belated, Nikki. But thank you, as always, for your suggestions. I have her basically, she gave me a lot of good reasons why she loved this movie.
Yeah, let's hear them.
So she gave the movie, Carrie, 2013, 5 boos. And here we go. I'm just going to read what she said. She was about 23 years old when she first... Sorry, I was about 23 years old when I was, and it was so good, and it was different from the original version. So she was 23 when she watched it, I believe, for the first time, or whenever it came out. And then all of the cast members did an amazing and excellent job in their characters. 3, her favorite character is Sue Snell because she stood up for herself when she told her best friend Chris Hargensen that she felt so bad for what they did to Carrie White in the showers, and she asked her boyfriend Tommy Ross to take Carrie to the prom instead of her. So she felt that Sue was being like super noble and like, trying to make a right from a wrong. Yeah. And which I agree. And 4, she did read the book by Stephen King, and this one is really based off of, and this one she feels like really follows the book really closely. And she is, and then just to reiterate, even after the 5 boos, she's like, give it 10 out of 10. Like, she really likes it.
Yeah.
One of her favorites. So thank you so much for all of that input, Miss Nikki. I would probably have to give this one a 3.8. Whenever it first came out, I watched it in theaters, and I don't think I even had watched the original by the time this one came out. So, because I think I remember watching the original when we covered it for our podcast, was my first time watching it. And so I thought it was pretty good. I was familiar with like the storyline because obviously pop culture, everybody knows Carrie.
Yeah.
But in watching the original and this one, I can say there was like a bit of creepiness and eeriness that was missing. This one kind of felt very like, what's the word? Like mainstream, I guess, if that feels right. Yeah. It felt very like this one was bringing it to more audiences, like you said earlier, the more PG-ified, PG-13ified version of what Carrie is.
Yeah.
But overall, like, I mean, the storyline's pretty good. And I thought the effects in this one were pretty good. And I really enjoyed whenever at the end, like, she was having the whole freak out scene and the blood started like floating off of her.
Yeah, that was
like,
cool.
It was really
that was
cool.
A cool added scene.
It was pretty badass. And so overall, I would give it a 3.8.
Good.
Yeah.
I think I would probably give it a 3.5. Overall, it's basically a shot-for-shot remake of the original. A few things, minor things tweaked here and there, and then just the added of the cell phones and stuff like that, which is totally fine and made it relevant for today. Like you did say, I would still like to see a remake where it's made in the 70s and stuff like that. But overall, it was still a really good film. I think all the actors delivered well. I'm trying not to compare it to the original.
Yeah. In its own right, in its own standing. If this was a standalone, had we never seen the other one, I mean, everybody did a pretty solid job.
Yeah. There were a few moments where Chloe Grace Moretz's performance didn't really hold up for me.
I think that's the sad part for me too, is I feel like everyone else outshined her in this movie than her.
Yes.
Like Chris, I hated the bitch.
Hated her.
She did her job good. She did a good job. Her role was for me to hate her and for her to play a nasty ass bitch, and she did.
Yeah.
The teacher, Miss Judy Greer, I thought Judy Greer did a phenomenal job, because I was like I want her to be my teacher.
Yeah. I liked her. She went about things in a little less callous way, I think, than the original gym teacher did.
There was a bit more of humanity to her.
Yeah, a little bit.
Even like the principal in this one, like because
he got her name right after the second time.
Well, not even he did, but it also still gave like his like whole demeanor and like talking with the period and everything. Like I believed that person. I know who that guy is.
Very awkward.
Where he can't even talk, like say the word period out loud, you know? Yeah. Exactly. And then everybody did pretty good. Except for I felt like the least ones who did that great were the ones who were the main people, Tommy, Sue, and Carrie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty solid.
Yeah. If I'm not comparing it to the original, then they did a really good job. There are some facts from the original that I wish, but again, I don't think it's possible to, I mean, it would take someone, the perfect person playing Carrie, to be able to reenact what Sissy Spacek did in the original.
I'm like trying to think of anybody today that I think that could even do that, and I don't think that anybody could, honestly.
Yeah,
because it's such a iconic and very.
She just brought something else to the role that I don't think
it's like
other people can bring.
It's like
she was Carrie.
It's like Laurie Strode. Nobody else can play Laurie Strode.
Yeah,
that cannot be recast. You know, and then her character in the original Halloween, like everybody, like that's a perfect. Or even a Sydney Prescott. Yeah. Like you can't redo those. Like, you know, you can add new characters. Like we had Scream 22 and 21 and 22. But even then, like it's not Sydney. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not Sydney. It's still not the same. It's still good. Yeah. But it's just not quite the same.
Some people are just iconic. That's all. Some characters.
Yeah.
They live on.
And she was. Do we want to hear some fun facts?
Yeah.
This is the first screen adaptation where Carrie is played by an actual teenager. Chloe Grace Moretz was 15 during filming. Wow, I didn't realize she was so young.
And like, wasn't Sissy like 25 or 28 or something like that?
Whereas Sissy Spacek and Angela Bettis, who played the role in Carrie in 1976 and 2002 respectively, were 25 and 28 when they played Carrie.
The way I got both of them, but they're different. Got it.
Yep. Okay. Because Chloe Grace Moretz was a minor, she was limited to 8 hours of work per day. When she was unavailable, director Kimberly Pierce substituted. She would be off screen. This was only done with scenes that Julianne Moore would talk to Carrie.
Ah, okay.
So basically, yeah, any scenes, I guess,
like where the back of her head or something.
Yeah. She was replaced. Chloe Grace Moretz had admitted to not having watched any previous incarnation of Carrie prior to this film. She decided not to watch previous versions prior to making this film since she wanted to create her own spin on the character and not try to copy Sissy Spacek or Angela Bettis.
that explains a lot, actually.
Yeah, it does.
I feel like that really explains a lot. Because I feel like it would have done her justice to watch the original.
Yeah, she should have.
Because she would have.
You can still watch the original and then still make it your own.
Yeah,
there's ways to do that.
Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Probably a young judgment call there.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, that's
fun facts.
Some fun facts there. It was the film debut for Ansel Elgort. I didn't realize that.
That far? Yeah, 2013. Jeez. Okay. Wait, when did they? I feel like the Divergent series came a long time ago. When did those come in?
I think they came out in like 2014. Huh? Yeah. And 2014, 2015. Because I remember reading the books in high school and in college, and then they came out while I was in college. Yeah.
That makes sense. So between 2012 and 2016. Yeah. But yeah, that is Carrie, you guys.
Thank you so much, Nikki, for recommending this. It was an enjoyable watch. I'm glad I watched it. And now I want to watch the 2002 version just to see.
I'm interested.
How
the differences.
Yeah, all the differences, see all these different iterations of Carrie.
And they're all free on Prime if anybody's interested in watching them.
Which is really nice.
Yeah. We like that. Well, I mean, granted, if you have Prime. Yeah.
If you don't have Prime, then they're not free.
Sorry. But
and technically, are they even free?
No, because you
have to pay for Prime.
Yeah.
But we do. So they're free for us.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Like always, we're in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios.
That's right. They take really great care of us. You can listen to us and all the other amazing podcasts on this network all in one central place, and that is
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
That's right. And if you would like to listen to us anywhere else, the two biggest platforms would be
Spotify
and also Apple. Sorry, I kind of stumbled there.
No, you didn't.
And then if you want to reach out to us and let us know your listener requests, we still have an ongoing list of requests that we're slowly making our way through. You can definitely do so. And you can do that at our one social media platform, which is Instagram, and that is at
Boobays Podcast, and that is BOOBAES Podcast, because we're your boobays, not your boobabes. So shit. Right. Yeah. Oh, did I do it right?
Yeah, you did it right.
I feel like I messed up.
I thought you were going to sneeze.
Oh, no. I got in my head about it.
But yeah, so that is 2013's Carrie. You got a 5, a 4.8, or 3.8, and a 3.5.
And
so that's a pretty solid 4.
4, yeah.
Overall.
And this also continues on our decades of horror. So this is our 2010s pick, which also really worked out with our listener requests. And next week we will be covering something from the past 3 years. So we will figure that out. We kind of have an idea, but I won't say it because maybe we won't, but it's an idea. Anyways.
It's an idea.
Until then, guys.
Until then. Yeah. Bye, bays.
Bye, bays.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.
Ya comenzó la temporada más alegre en JCPenney. Con todas tus marcas favoritas para el hogar bajo un mismo techo, es muy fácil crear lindos ambientes en casa. Tenemos decoración de mesa para tus comidas en familia y los últimos modelos de Cooks, Cuisinart y Martha Stewart para el chef de la casa. Prepara el cuarto de visita con artículos de Home Expressions, Linden Street y Liz Claiborne. Encuentra hoy todo lo que tienes en tu lista y aprovecha nuestras ofertas. JCPenney, celebraciones que valen la pena.